So we're going to be ranking every Premier League's team season for 2025-2026. Arsenal took it all. We saw West Ham, Wolves, and Burnley get relegated. We're going to start at the bottom and we'll work our way up. I'm going to start off by putting Wolves in stinker. I knew they were going to go down the moment that they sold Jorgen Strand Larsen. I don't know how no one else sees that he's an elite striker, but the moment that they sold their only goal threat, I knew that they were going down, and not even for being relegated, just for that, they get a stinker. We'll move on to Burnley now. I'm kind of tempted to put them in D tier just because I feel like they're in promotion jail. I feel they're too good for the championship, but they're just not quite at Premier League level. So every time they come up, they go back down, but every time they go down, they come back up. So I can see how that's frustrating. It's just a lack of depth, probably need a little bit more investment, but I do like watching Fleming play. He reminds me of like an old school striker, just super aggressive, strong, and just always goes after it. So we'll leave them in stinker just because they got relegated, but I don't mind them. West Ham, straight to stinker. You guys know what you did. Not all of you, but you guys wanted Moise out so bad because the style of play was so boring. He gave you a European final. I know the Conference League is not a real European final, but it's still a European Cup. He gave you that and you guys kicked him out. And Jared Bowen, he can't carry the whole squad on his back forever. I thought I was done with the stinker tier, but there's one worse than stinker. I should have added another layer. It's Spurs. Spurs has spent almost £400 million on transfers, and they were literally in a relegation battle with West Ham. They also had one of the top managers, in my opinion, in Thomas Frank. In the beginning, I was expecting so much from them, and by the end, Thomas Frank didn't even look like Thomas Frank anymore. Then they did whatever they did with Igor Tudor for whatever reason, and now they ended up with Roberto De Zerbi, which is another great manager. So I hope he does well. He plays exciting football. Now we'll move on to Nottingham Forest. Last season they ended in 7th place, so they got Europe. They were probably in B or C last year. This year they barely made it out of the relegation battle. I'll put them in D because I like watching Morgan Gibbs White play, and I like how they develop Elliot Anderson. So I think Forest deserves to be in D. Now we'll move on to the Kings of Europe, Crystal Palace. Put them up in B because in the league they ended up in 15th place, which is I guess it's not terrible for Crystal Palace. Generally they're in that mid-table, but they're the Kings of Europe. You have to put them in B, and they bought Jorgen Strand Larsen, which is my favorite striker. They deserve a B at least. Leeds United. That Tanaka didn't start playing well until like the last 5 games of the season. I don't know what took him so long to lock in, but that guy's insane. Also, when Calvert-Lewin was in Everton, he couldn't hit an open net. Now all of a sudden he scored 11 goals this season? They deserve a B. I know Moisey's having a laugh finishing in 13th with Jack Grealish. We'll put them in B. I feel like they did what they had to do. They got Dewsbury Hall out of Chelsea jail, so I think Everton is good at B. Newcastle United, how the mighty fall. You remember when they were talking about getting Mbappe? And now they got knocked out of the Champions League in 16th, and they ended up in 12th place. That's not even the worst part. They're playing their £90 million striker as a center mid. Stinker has a special place, so they're lucky. They're in D, but just barely. Fulham, I think they're good in B. They always do what they need to do to stay in the league, meeting expectation, which is just mid-table. Harry Wilson was really fun to watch this season, so I think B's justified. There's one club who had a world-class manager and let him slip through their fingers to join the best club in the last 10 years, and that's Chelsea. Chelsea is going straight to D. They let Enzo Maresca go because they wouldn't back him because they didn't want to give him the players he wanted. They took in Rosignor, and Rosignor had Liam Delap coming on in the last 10 minutes when they had to win a game. Honestly, they deserve to be lower, but I'll leave them in D because Spurs is in stinker. Brentford, for me, 100% deserves to be an A. After they lost Thomas Frank, I was 100% expecting them to be in that relegation battle or in that lower half of the table. Somehow they got a Thomas Frank regen with Keith Andrews, and they picked up right where they left off last season. They bought Kelleher in from Liverpool, and he's been a great number 1 for them. And not to mention their striker, their Brazilian striker, Igor Thiago, got called up for the Brazilian national team. So there's no doubt that Brentford deserve an A for me. Danny Welbeck should have been called up to the World Cup. Brighton, for me, goes to B. For them to be a selling club and be ahead of some of the big 6, and with how many European spots the Prem got, they got to Europe, I think a B is minimum what they deserve. R.I.P. Matoma. Sunderland, I raise my hand and bow. That's one of the best individual seasons I can remember from a newly promoted team. They've ended up in Europa League when the goal was just to stay up, and they ended up with one of the best signings of the season with Granit Xhaka, which I would put almost at the top if it wasn't for Bruno Fernandes. Maybe David Raya and Declan Rice, but Xhaka's right there. Sunderland, I can't give enough praise for what they did this season. 100% S tier. Now we've narrowed it down to the new big 6. Bournemouth, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Manchester United. It's crazy to say that. In sixth place, we have Bournemouth going straight to A tier for me. This is the first time they've ever been in Europe and they deserve it. They play like a super direct type of football that's really fun to watch. And I don't know where they got this Ryan guy from, but he glides with the ball. I haven't seen a player glide like that with the ball in such a long time. So Bournemouth gets an A from me. Next team we have is Liverpool. And for me, they're going to go straight in C after winning the league last season. And with the signing of Kirkes, Alexander Isak, Frimpong, and Florian Wirtz, I expected them to go even a level above what they did in their league winning season with Slot, but everything just went downhill. The style of play was completely gone. Virgil van Dijk can't sort his legs anymore, and it was just revealed that Slot's leaving. To make matters just a little bit worse, Konate's leaving on a free. This season was a complete bust other than the fact that they made it to the Champions League, but I think next season is going to be even worse. So I think they deserve a C. Unai Emery being able to pull off a 4th place finish in the Premier League with Aston Villa deserves an A. If you really look at the squad, man for man, it's a pretty average squad. I don't think there's many managers in the world that could get 16 goals and 3 assists out of Ollie Watkins. So I think Unai Emery knows what he's doing. And I think he's starting to understand what it takes to be at the top end. I don't see Aston Villa dropping off anytime soon. So I think for me, it's an A. Now we made it to the best team in England, Manchester United. Listen, I'm going to be a little biased, but I think we can all agree that Carrick's done a phenomenal job. And I think Manchester United deserves an A. I wasn't on the Amorim hate train, but from when Carrick has taken over Amorim, it's night and day. I mean, come on. Kobe Mainoo, on a serious note, I think Manchester United ending in 3rd place and one of their best finishes in a long time is worth an A, if not an S. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think recruitment has been good. The tactics have been good. We beat Arsenal. We beat Manchester City. I say we like I'm playing, but Manchester United beat both. I think that's worth something based on the state Manchester United's been in the past few years. So for me, Manchester United deserves an A. Now we hit the runner-up, Manchester City. This one's a little hard in my opinion, only because I would say they're in like a transition period. I think this is like the most changed squad that they've played in the last maybe 5 years, and transitioning into using Haaland for the past 5 years. Now they're bringing in Jeremy Doku and Reinders, Marmoush, and one of their best players in my opinion, Ryan Cherky. I completely forgot they lost Rodri pretty much the whole of the season. And even throughout that whole situation, they still ended up in 2nd. So I don't think it's fair to put them too low, but you expect more from them in a sense. So they still won multiple trophies. I mean, it's not the biggest trophies ever, but I think a B is justified for them. I really wonder what the next few years are going to be like without Pep now that Enzo Maresca is taking over. I think next year will kind of be like an Arne Slot season where they're still the same players playing the same way. So they might still be up there first, maybe 2nd, 3rd. But the season after that, once Maresca really takes over and starts implementing his ideas, I want to see what happens there. It's going to be interesting at least. Look, I know this decision might get a lot of hate, but because they won the league and it's been so long, I think they have to go in S. And I can argue with Arsenal fans all day about how the way that they play is boring, and I can't stand to watch them park the bus after they go 1-0 up. I can talk about that all day. Point of the matter, Arsenal won the league. They won the league playing defense, which is part of football. They won the league by scoring corners, which are part of football. And it might not be the prettiest, but it worked, and they didn't exploit it, but they played to their strengths, and they held everyone off. So they deserve it. They won. I'm not happy that they won. I'm happy that the fans get to enjoy something like that. And yeah, the style of play isn't my cup of tea, but maybe if my squad did the same thing and we won the league, maybe I wouldn't care either. So, but yeah, these have been my ratings for the 2025-2026 Premier League season. You guys let me know if any of these are actually like insanely out of whack, or if you guys agree with this, or if you just want to argue, just leave a comment and we can chat in the comments. Stay tuned to watch my next season's Premier League predictions. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching.